Hey there, aspiring guitarist. I want to talk today about humidity and guitars, especially as we're knee deep into winter or getting near the end of winter, where sometimes the most brutal changes in humidity happen. But I'm watching on YouTube from Alvarez Guitars, the ultimate humidity discussion, everything you need to know. And it is a great video. That's the CEO right there. And he actually goes very deep. Now, this is 23 minutes. He covers a little bit of everything from how a tree needs to stabilize once it's cut down. He talks about what manufacturers do, what Alvarez does, what Martin does, how they'll dry wood in a kiln, how they'll go through a torrefication process. He talks about how long they do it, how long Martin and others do it, and they're doing it to try to stabilize the wood. Because when you remember, and he talks about how a tree thrives on water. And so even when you cut it down, that wood, the cellular structure is still trying to get water. Well, you can see right here, it's 28 degrees in Birmingham, Alabama right now, which we have tons of humidity all year long, unlike Arizona where, it's dry all the time. So when I woke up this morning, it was 16 degrees. And I came in here in the guitar studio and the temperature was 75 degrees. And the reason it was 75, I've got an oil filled heater in here. This guitar studio, as you can see from the window there, that part is actually below ground. So you had the central heat and air running, you had the oil filled heater running. It was cold. We're not used to it. We're used to that hot and sweaty, and there's a heater out in the hallway. So anyway, guitars and humidity can really wreak havoc. I mean, truly wreak havoc. Now, most of the time here in the South, I'm running a dehumidifier, and you see it's turned off right now. And this down here, all of this is the bucket area. And I can tell you during the summer, even as big as that is, it's a couple of gallons. I'll empty it once a day, every day. But what I'm running right now is a humidifier, and you can see I've got the mist cranked wide open because when I came in this morning, the relative humidity in this room was 21 degrees. Now, that is an analog hygrometer over there. I'm not very crazy about them unless they're calibrated, but I also have one up here on the wall, just stuck in some thumbtacks, a Diadiero, and you can see it had actually hit low. And that's because of how cold it got. It got in the low teens, and you see I've mostly got acoustics, and they're affected by the humidity. So, it's a big deal. So I came in, and the first thing I did was I turned the heater off to start with. Then normally I keep this just barely going with a little mist down here near the first setting. You see I cranked it wide open. Well, it went from 21 to 28 and it dropped to 73 degrees in just 30 minutes. So you have to work on keeping your guitar stable. Wood was alive, and at the cellular structure, it's still trying to take in water, and it does. It takes in water, it loses water, it expands, it contracts. I've got mostly acoustics, but I do have some electrics, and a lot of people think electrics, humidity doesn't affect them. That's not true. It especially affects the neck, and you can often get where the humidity will show up is getting fret sprout, which I have no fret sprout. because I'm constantly monitoring the humidity in my guitar room. So humidity is a big deal, especially depending on where you live. But, you know, when you crank up the heat, you suck the water out of the air. And that's the reason I had to get this Vicks humidifier going again. You see, I'm spraying it right into the middle of the room. Within the next 2 hours, I'll be back up around 45% humidity. And you really do have to stay on it. I've seen people shock guitars with fast changes, which brings me, and the reason I've got the case on the couch here. When I used to play in a gospel group, you had to drive to the church. Sometimes it'd be very cold, and you'd have your guitar in the car, in the case. You'd go in the church. And even if you were in a hurry, we never just flew the case open. I actually watched a friend of mine. I tried to stop him. He flew his open, and the guitar top around the sound hole, we heard it crack right there in front of us. It's called finish checking. So what we always did, we'd come in, we'd try to let the guitar just sit in the case for 5 or 10 minutes. Longer is always better, but we always open the guitar case like that. We barely opened it because you don't want that air change to rush in here, and that can crack the wood. And then what I would normally do, I would open it just a little bit, and I would take my handkerchief and shove right here, and then just let it stay propped open for another 10 to 15 minutes. Now, I realize when you've got to play, you've only got so much time, traffic can hold you up, whatever, but don't sling a guitar case open with your guitar in it when you've brought it in from extreme hot, extreme cold. Allow the guitar to acclimate. And if you are in a hurry, don't open the case fast. Barely open it, let some air get in there, circulate. You don't want to shock the guitar. So humidity is important. It's important all year round, but remember, humidity factors change as the seasons change. So once again, this is Alvarez Guitars on YouTube. This really is a great discussion. Now, I realize that amount of time, 23 minutes, gets into guitar nerdville, but these guys did a great job at explaining things. Now, they start off playing because they always start off playing. But anyway, I hope your guitar journey is a blessed one, and I hope you don't have humidity issues. Remember, acoustic guitars have to be watched even more. So, happy picking, and I'll see you next time.